Hello and welcome to the New Dad Rock.
Two dads navigating the ages together. Are we still doing this?
Yeah, apparently. Oh, boy. I saw this tweet the other day from David Lowery. He's the singer and guitarist and bassist of Camper Van Beethoven and Cracker. And he said he was going back to class finally, like to teach. I was like, oh my God, that guy became a teacher. So awesome to be like a lead singer of a band, you know, in your youth, and then be a professor out of college, University of Georgia, teaching music business. And like, he's excited to go back to class. And I was like, yeah, good luck. And that's awesome. Famous dude. One of my favorite songs of all time, Low, to a professor, which was also one of my dream jobs.
So he's kind of like your hero. You want to be this guy.
I definitely listen to a lot of his YouTube and interviews, like almost as much as the music, because he's out there. And we're talking 30 years.
His early 80s.
Yeah, but I was never into Camper Van Beethoven.
I think I listened to much heavier stuff then. But they are definitely inspirations to a lot of bands that I really like. There's definitely inspiration to Ween and Pavement.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe they're like older brother music or something, or older cousin.
The other podcast.
I mean, back when we were in college, though, we listened to Cracker all the time, but I never went back and listened to Camper Van Beethoven. And honestly, I don't even remember listening to that much beyond Low, because Low was such a great song.
Absolutely. And it was when we were DJs, which one of the reasons I joined you and became a DJ, was because we'd get the new records. We'd literally be able to play them. Like there's the new music guide or the college music guide, CMJ, right? Or
CMJ.
Something? And and it would come out and it would tell you like what all the top stations are playing. And you'd be like, oh, why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Because you're being sent these records for free. Like it's like college music doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, a lot of music doesn't exist anymore.
No, I meant like the way people found music back in our day was to be DJs at the college because you get all the free records. Now you go to YouTube or Spotify or Tidal or anywhere else with the band
listen
themselves,
to your favorite podcast.
You could listen to your favorite podcast. What held us back from listening to Camper Van Beethoven, besides not having an older sibling who listened to Camper Van Beethoven, my guess is we just didn't want to shell out the money on the CD.
That's a fair point.
Because I didn't have an older sibling, I really didn't get into music. It's like late 88, 89. I miss Camper Van Beethoven, who I think like recorded 3 albums in like 20 months, dude. From like, 83, 84 era.
Yeah.
That's prolific.
I totally remember Take the Skinheads Bowling. That was
You do remember that.
I totally remember that. I mean, my skater friends, you know, they listened to the Dead Milkmen and Angry Samoans and Butthole Surfers, those bands. So they were in with that. So I definitely remember Take the Skinhead Bowling, Mojo Nixon, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You probably just have better memory than me. I probably heard it likewise, like, because I loved Fishbone, right? And I feel like, because they incorporate, like, all the elements, the ska, the folk, the rock, the boogie. Like, it's just...
There's a lot of reggae
musicians
in there,
playing
too.
music. Yeah.
I wonder if it's because those are, like, the easier things to play. Like, punk plays rockabilly and ska and reggae, and a lot of that stuff is just like one note, just going chin, chin, chin.
Right. So
chin.
Some of these are bass elements, is what you're saying. Yeah, for sure. So they're coming out of Santa Cruz, actually.
Who
apparently,
is?
like Camper Van Beethoven. Apparently, this was their other band for each of them. So apparently, like David was playing the wrong instrument. I think he was playing bass, because I think he's a guitarist. But he's playing bass in that. Like, so they're all playing the wrong instruments. But this second band became the more famous or popular band, so they went into that, which is fun.
Everybody else had another band.
Before Camper, yeah, exactly. I listened to a bunch of it. It's good. It's good. Like, okay, so I was debating this when I was at my son's soccer practice. Do I go all in and be like, oh, it's terrific, and I'm so sorry I missed it? I mean, it would have been great in the 80s, so that's actually true. I can totally say that. But I wasn't listening to this music at all, and I might have been a little young for it because I was, 12, 16. I don't know. Maybe it was super awesome. I wasn't cool. Actually, that's probably totally true. So... for me, though, when I listen to it now, it just reminds me of the whole era. Like, it sounds just like Pavement almost, like, which is really fascinating to me. Like for me, it's just like iconic or perfect, that genre of college music. It just sounds like, reminds me of everything.
They were definitely influential. Camper Van Beethoven, I think, is pretty huge. They might not have sold a ton of records. I mean, I feel like Ferris Bueller would have listened to Camper Van Beethoven.
Yeah, I bet that's somewhere.
They have that kind of witty, kind of sarcastic, ironic. It's very 80s into the 90s. Like, you can't have Friends without Camper Van Beethoven.
Yeah, that's fair. Camper Van Beethoven, Great name also. Just totally awesome name. And like, so they moved from Santa Cruz to San Francisco, and then they just touring, and then they broke up. I don't know. Probably obviously early 90s, because Cracker comes out in 90.
Yeah, like right around 90, I think they broke up.
Sure. And they broke up on tour, and they didn't even finish the tour, which means they lost money, because the way the band did tours back then is the company would like front you money, your record label, and then so you'd have to make up that money as you tour. They broke up before the end. And, like, he explains it all online and stuff, and it's great. It's just like, yeah, it was one night in Helsinki, maybe, or, I don't know, somewhere. Estonia, Oslo, it was up north. And
those countries didn't even exist then. They were part of the USSR.
Okay, sorry. So not Estonia, but Finland, Norway, or Sweden.
I think, like, 88 they broke off, didn't they?
89
92.
is the wall.
It was 92.
Yeah.
92. Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. You were talking about the band. I was talking about the countries breaking away from the USSR. When they break up, when Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia go.
92. That's what I'm saying too.
So they break up outside like a hotel room through common consent. You know, they were just tired of each other or whatever. You know, everyone's probably got their problems. It's cold. You know, you're just done. So they broke up, and apparently, like, Cracker came out, and I think it has some of the same people besides the singer.
I think there's two guys.
Two others or two total?
I think two total, but maybe it wasn't always the same two. Mm-hmm. Well, it was always Dave Lowery, who's the main guy who you tweeted at and is a professor.
Yeah, he's done better than me. Like, I was in a rock band, which was fun, and, like, people think that's cool with who I hang out with. You know, I did, like, 20 shows. But I wasn't Camper Van Beethoven. And that's not even, like, the big band. He had another band. He's like, yeah. He does Cracker, which they did cool back-to-back shows at the Independent, like, around Christmas time. I think they do it, like, December 26th, 27th, because they're from Santa Cruz and San Francisco and stuff. So they would do shows, and they would both be on the bill, Camper Van Beethoven and Cracker, which makes sense. And I'm not necessarily sure who actually played live shows, because I'm sure the drummer for either could play both. And you know what I mean? Like, musicians,
if he has good stamina, he can.
Yeah, so
we've been talking about a lot of bands with two drummers.
Oh yeah, I love two drummer bands.
Oh,
yeah, so moral of the story is it's Christmas time. Right after Christmas, they play one or two shows at the Independent, which is a couple blocks from me, and it's awesome. Like 400 people, big stage. They sound awesome, and definitely when they play Low, I was totally psyched.
I mean, that
great live band.
Low is just like that quintessential song, and if you were to make a movie or some sort of soundtrack and you wanted to indicate it was the 90s and you didn't want to go for the most obvious song, that would be the song.
Dude, on Twitter also, for some reason, apparently I saw a lot of tweets around the Dad Rock Essentials album or playlist or whatever, and Low was on it, by the way.
I'll be with you, girl. Yeah, so Cracker, they kind of came out of the early 90s and had that. You could tell the alt country was strong within our man Dave Lowery. And during that era, as we were living through it, Garth Brooks was huge. So alt country became more and more of a thing.
Oh. When does Wilco start?
Sun Volt broke up and right around that time.
College radio. Like, is there college radio now? Like, is there some indie scene on college radio? Because that's where my band needs to be. Like, is there a Cracker for some people now that we don't know about? Like, is there a Low?
I'm sure there is, but it's done a totally different way.
I'm not sure there is.
There are definitely things that we don't know about.
For sure.
That's for sure.
That's for sure. One thing David Lowery said, and I've always thought about this, was like, how much money does an artist actually make off the streams? There's like a new Overlord or whatever, and he's like, maybe we'll get more money because it was already bad with the labels, right? You're getting 10% or whatever. And then it moves to the internet, and surprisingly, he says, you get less. And he said it would take millions of streams, and I don't think it'd take millions of streams for a minimum wage job. But it was like, you need so many streams, and I'm not getting those streams. I got 10 streams. I'm like, getting millions of streams to pay for a minimum wage job would be so freaking hard.
And especially now when you can't go live and, there's some merch that gets sold along the way. You make some money off the tickets and maybe some of the drinks. Yeah, I always have that conundrum because I do buy vinyl, but even some of the stuff that I buy on vinyl, I'll go out and stream more and, maybe give them another 14 cents somehow. But if I think back to the CDs that I bought in the 80s or the 90s, when I listen to those, the artist gets nothing from that. So
yeah, it's like 10%, yeah.
Well, they got it initially. They got that one moment when it was when it was sold.
Yeah.
So I do think that incremental, every time it gets streamed, you get paid something. It's just way too low. The number's way too low. Maybe your first initial streams pay you more, and after 100,000 it's less, and after 1 million it's much less, and that way.
Well, okay, that's fine. You're solving the pay structure there, but I'll tell you where the money's going now. It's going somewhere. Is it going to the record labels? Like, I guess they still get the same amount. I guess.
No, it's the owners of Spotify. It's the owners of Apple.
So it's the stockholders.
Amazon.
So basically, the stockholders, the ones who are appreciating this music, are the ones actually sucking the money from the musicians. It's crazy. Like, Spotify would not exist without music. What's the percentage of the money that goes to the musicians?
How much do podcasters get paid?
Music's better than podcasting. Let's just focus on the musician for a second. Like, we put the show together in an hour. Like, to write a song like Low and get it distributed, like, and play it live across the world, like, that's a lot of effort. It's a heavy lift. Okay, so Spotify pays whoever holds the rights to a song anywhere from 0.006 cents to 0.002084 per play. The rights holder can then split these earnings with the record label, producers, artists, and songwriters, which means splitting pennies between many parties. How much does Spotify pay for 1 million streams? At 0.00437 per stream, you get $4,370 so you get $4,400 for 1 million streams. Oh my!
And that's assuming you have 100% of the ownership, right?
Oh yes.
So then you only get like a 10 or a 20% cut.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're getting $400, maybe $600.
I don't understand.
For how many streams?
Oh my god, it was 1 million streams for 4,400. I can't do the math here, but somehow John Mayer made $6.4 million in royalties from 1 billion streams. So,
well, 1 billion that just shows you how big of a number 1 billion is.
You know what it is? The big artists are making way more.
And
the big artists have the better contracts now. No, I mean modern big artists versus old big artists.
Right, and that's very different than the way it used to be in the record industry. It used to be a huge selling artist like a Beatles or a Led Zeppelin would end up funding all the other artists.
Right. That's right.
They got to put out 5 albums, and they kind of weren't very good, and they didn't sell very much.
But at least they were trying, and someone saw something in them. Yeah, I can see how that's waste too. But going to stockholders seems like the worst now, especially when it's like one person or 5 people. Okay, now I know why I don't like the stock market thing. Like, it's killing music. It's so weird. People are killing it. It's like peeing on your own vegetable garden.
Well, the latest thing is selling your forward rights. So you can basically set up shares on your expected earnings.
Yeah, that's like 100 to 1,000 people. Even 5,000. Like it could be a lot of people, but it's not most people. I saw Neil Young did that, Bob Dylan did that. I would 100% do that because I'm going to be dead. Like, give me my money now. Like, that's what I would do, for sure. He's got a fat place in Telluride. Sounds amazing, dude. Plays music, would live stream once a week, I think. He has all these archives. Like, Neil Young did it right. In fact, I haven't looked this up at all, but I wonder if David Lowery does like a case study on him and how well he did. Like, Neil Young, just like, I mean, didn't Pearl Jam follow his model too? Pearl Jam's kind of famous for bucking the system, no?
Yeah, they took on Ticketmaster.
Which is crazy.
And did not win.
Which is crazy. Like, when they bowed Ticketmaster, that just meant they couldn't play in Ticketmaster venues, right? Mm-hmm. Were there that many Ticketmaster venues?
I saw them at Randall's Island during that era.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a Ticketmaster location. Like, I now I'm thinking about David Lowery with, like, his Neil Young, like, things, the streams. I want to go deeper. I probably listen to an hour of stuff, so I learned some fun stuff, but he certainly knows more, teaches a whole class on it.
Are his classes available on streams, or do you have to enroll in college?
Yeah, he's at a college, so yeah. I bet there's 1 or 2 or 3 talks recorded, but I'm not sure he's gone virtual yet. Jeez, I wish I was a professor at a college. That sounds amazing. And particularly music business, because it'd be easier to grade the papers than a philosophy paper.
Yeah, because you just get screwed in the end. The musician gets screwed in the end.
All right, so besides Low by Cracker, what would you recommend for listeners of the show to listen to from the Cracker Van Beethoven canon.
Well, there was that other one. It's like, what the world needs
now. Teen Angst, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was their first big hit.
That's right. It was also the first song off their first album.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he also said because they broke up so close, he's like, a lot of these might have been Camper Van Beethoven songs. Like, they were songs he had kicking around, because they recorded the first album 6 months after. So it was just that...
Yeah, you can definitely see the evolution. It's not a surprise. It's not like, when Eric Bachman left Archers of Loaf and all of a sudden was doing this, like, really folksy Americana type music where he was a very loud, angry punk. These guys had that kind of sound in some of their songs in Camper Van Beethoven, and
yeah, absolutely
took it into that alt country realm that was very popular in the early 90s.
Yeah, it reminds me of Beck Loser.
Well, Loser, it was such a popular term in the era in 93 that on Kerosene Hat, which is Cracker's album that had the big hit Low, they have another song called Loser. What's funny about that album, which totally reminds me of the 90s, is there's something like 16 or 17 songs on it, and it's like 68 minutes long. Albums used to be records. They used to be like 20 minutes on each side. Right. Sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, but that was it. So you had like 10, 11 songs, 40, 45 minutes. Yeah, 44 and minutes, then suddenly CDs came out, and there were 72, and then 75, and then 80 minutes. So these albums would be like 17 songs, 72 minutes.
Because they could. I don't blame them.
Because they could.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's your only chance to get distribution out. You don't have the options you have now where you can put it out whenever you want it, which is just terrific.
So what do you like better? Do you like Cracker or Camper Van Beethoven better?
I'm going to have to say it's Cracker. I'm going to have to say it's because... I like the pop songs. I listen to. You've heard what I've shared it with you, and so I like the big hits. When I was listening to Camper Van Beethoven, I think they're awesome. Like, they sound like Pavement, which is one of my favorite bands. They sound like Grandaddy. I just didn't listen to them at the right time. Like, they were probably super awesome if you're in the 80s and you hear them then. Now, if you hear them, they just sound perfectly like that era, which is awesome. And even maybe forebears or early to the era, which is congratulations.
What's also weird, though, is that Camper Van Beethoven got back together after Cracker had a run of, 4 or 5 albums.
Yeah, they're all friends.
And now they're both in existence. And I feel like the newer Camper Van Beethoven stuff sounds more Cracker-ish. There's a bit more of an overlap where it's not that caustic, jangly, sarcastic, thumb in the face of authority punk.
Yeah, no, I think they're sharing more musicians.
That's age, too.
It's certainly age. But they're sharing people, and they still play the old songs. Like, in a sense, you get more refined in your ways. It's kind of like the author's 10th novel.
I just don't understand why Wilco got to be so popular and Cracker didn't.
I agree with that. I mean, sometimes there's stuff outside our Venn diagram, like in that little vector below, where if we're from the South or something, would be in our wheelhouse.
Wilco's much more earnest, and that sarcastic, screw the system kind of attitude, it's clearly a 90s. It's a 90s
Well,
look.
I was thinking this.
And maybe that's
the bands you like the Flaming Lips, you compared them to, or Ween, or were fun, like caustic. Yeah, maybe not bad caustic, but more like funny and played gags on each other. And that's what he joked about the music. He's like, it was easy to write songs because he's like, there's it was 4 chords. Maybe he didn't say 4 chords. I'm sorry. He said it was like we had 4 different styles of writing. It'd be like ska-ish or whatever-ish. And then he would also be like, and the topic was either conspiracy theories, UFOs, or, and you're like, that's awesome. I just loved his whole, spirit.
It was a little bit nerd culture.
Absolutely. And I didn't have an older sibling, so.
So, Cracker, Van Beethoven, either one or the other. You don't have to decide. And even if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. And the choice is listen to the new dad rock.
2 dads navigating the ages. Together. You didn't think I'd do it,
huh? Why? Anyway, thank you for joining us again this week as we
navigate the ages together.
as we navigate the ages together, delving into Cracker. And we didn't even talk about Beethoven.
We did not talk about Beethoven. We have to get more classical music on here. We have so many classical fans.
Do we?
Your dad's classical. Coming up soon.
And don't forget to tell your friends.